Laws of personality development. The science of yoga claims that it has discovered the laws which develops this personality, and by proper attention to those laws and methods, each one can grow and strengthen his personality. This is one of the great practical things, and this is the secret of all education. This has a universal application in the life of a householder, in the life of poor, the rich, the man of business, the spiritual man, in everyone's life. It is a great thing, the strengthening of this personality. There are laws, very fine, which are behind the physical laws, as we know. That is to say, there are no such realities as a physical world, a mental world, a spiritual world. Whatever is one. Let us say it is a sort of tapering existence. The thickest part is here. It tapers and becomes finer and finer. The finest is what we call spirit, the grossest, the body. And just as it is here in microcosm, it is exactly the same in the macrocosm. The universe of ours is exactly like that. It is the gross external thickness, and it tapers into something finer and finer until it becomes God. We all know that the greatest power is lodged in the fine, not the coarse. We see a man take up a huge weight. We even see his muscles swell. And all over his body, we see signs of exertion. And we think the muscles are powerful things. But it is the thin thread like things, the nerves, which bring power to the muscles. The moment one of this thread is cut off from reaching the muscles, they are not able to work it at all. These tiny nerves bring the power from something still finer, and that again in its turn brings it from something finer still, thought, and so on. So it is the fine that is really the seat of power. Of course, we can see the movements in the gross, but when fine movements take place, we cannot see them, and thus we naturally identify the movement with things which are gross. But all the power is really in the fine. We do not see any movements in the fine. Perhaps because the movement is so intense that we cannot perceive it. But if by any science, any investigation, we are helped to get hold of these finer forces which are cause of the expression itself will be under control. There is a little bubble coming from the bottom of a lake. We do not see it coming all the time. We see it only when it bursts on the surface. So, we can perceive thoughts only after they develop a great deal or after they become actions. We constantly complain that we have no control over our actions, over our thoughts. But how can we have it? If we can get control over the fine movements, if we can get hold of thought at the root before it has become thought, before it has become action, then it would be possible for us to control the whole. If here is a method by which we can analyze, investigate, understand, and finally grapple with those finer powers, the finer causes, then alone it is possible to have control ourselves. And the man who has control over his own mind assuredly will have control over every other mind. That is why purity and morality have been always the objective of religion. A pure moral man has control of himself, and all minds are the same, different part of one mind. He who knows one lump of clay has known all the clay in the universe. He who knows and control his own mind knows the secret of every mind and has power over every mind. Now, a good deal of our physical evil we can get rid of if we have control over the fine parts. A good many worries we can throw off if we have control over the fine movements. A good many failures can be averted if we have control over these fine powers.